Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I've had quite a few people ask me, will I cover the beef between Bostin, Loyd, and Rich Piana? So I had to look into it a bit. People linked me videos, some other stuff, just so I can kind of get an idea of what's going on. And since people want to know, I'm going to give people what they want. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, do a little bit of crafting, and let's talk about it. Now in the title there, I've got the oil in there. That's just a bit of tongue-in-cheek humor, because you know what, guys, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that I shit talk because they deserve it in this industry. I don't really go that hard on Rich or Bostin. I get bust their chops a little every now and then, but you know what? They're big boys. They can take it. They're making plenty of money. It doesn't hurt their business. And like I said, they're big boys. They can handle it. But truth be told, I don't have the type of problem with either of these guys that I have with a lot of the industry. Why? Because they're so fucking honest. What are you supposed to do? When you have a whole industry where everyone's on grams of gear running around screaming about how they're natural and YouTube fitness. Tons of guys, when you look at them and then you look at all the guys at your gym who use over a gram of gear and growth hormone and go, man, they look a lot alike. All these guys claiming natty, it's full of fakes. But these two guys are at least open and honest about what they do. And no matter what else I think about other decisions they make, I have to give them a certain amount of respect for that. I have to, because they're in an industry full of bullshit artists and liars, and they're at least honest about what they're doing. What more can you say? You have to respect that. Even if you think, man, they do some stupid stuff, God, that might be true, but they're brutally honest with certain things that everybody else, every other motherfucker in this industry lies about. So you got to give some respect for that. You have to. But what's going on here? There is this beef between the two because apparently Bostin has said quite a few things, getting upset at Rich, thinking Rich is talking about him in videos. And Rich is like, look, man, I don't even know what you do. I don't watch your stuff. I don't even watch stuff when you talk about me, really. And you know what? When Rich says that, I believe him. A lot of people are like, no, he watches them. You know why I believe him? Because there's tons of videos about me. You think I sit around watching them? Fuck no. They come through my feed, and I even see stuff come through my feed like proof that Jason Blaha watches my videos. And I'm like, what? It's like, motherfucker, I don't have time to watch all the videos you people make about me. I really don't, man. I'm too busy making my own videos, shooting guns, eating, having sex, spending time with friends and loved ones. I don't have time to watch their bullshit. And Rich is running a business, running his own YouTube channel. He probably doesn't have time either. So when he says that, I believe him. Why wouldn't I? So I honestly believe that he means that he doesn't watch all this stuff. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't keep up with other fitness YouTubers unless people send him stuff, who watch it and say, hey, you really need to see this. I get that. I think that's how most people are in the industry at a certain point. That being said, they're sitting around arguing, it seems like, a lot of stuff about IGF-1. Maybe, I'm not sure what Bostin's got going. Maybe he's involved with a business doing IGF-1. And Rich is talking about pharmaceutical grade, American grade IGF-1, FDA grade, and growth hormone versus the generic stuff or stuff other companies are making. And I got to be honest here. Rich is right. There is a difference in quality with these products. If you guys really think those $200 Chinese growth hormone kits are anywhere near what a $600 FDA kit does in terms of potency, they're not. They're not comparable. I'm going to assume because of the recombinant DNA technology and the testing of batches, the FDA grade stuff is probably going to be very similar on IGF-1. Do I have firsthand knowledge and observation of that? No, but it makes sense considering the type of technology and the quality controls involved in dealing with a fairly fragile molecule. Rich is probably right there. Just from a biochemistry perspective, he's probably right. Now, that being said, what I don't like is all this talk of, again, them telling people to use IGF-1. This is where I do bust their chops a bit. I feel like these guys abuse gear way beyond what anyone should really be considering doing. And I think they're enablers, influencers. And that's the only problem I have with these guys. And this topic puts us right back into that because, truth be told, I am pro-gear in the sense of freedom. I am pro-freedom that an adult who has the financial means to afford this stuff, who can afford a doctor, can get prescriptions, who's a grown adult and knows what they want out of their life, what they choose to put into their body, particularly with a doctor's care, you know what? That's their business. I don't have any problem with a grown adult deciding to use gear is a choice they make. As long as they, are keeping up with their health and everything, I don't even see it as a problem. But again, responsible adult use is a little different from abuse. It's the same thing with alcohol. I don't see any difference exactly there. Conservative use of alcohol, drinking alcohol because you enjoy or whatever perks you get out of it, and being responsible with it, it's the same thing. It's a controlled substance. They say party responsibly. It's the same thing with gear. And I feel like that these two guys, they do promote abuse because they personally abuse. Bostin uses insane amounts. Rich's stack that he did on his bigger by the day, he ended up having to quit medical reasons, had to go to the hospital and stuff during all of it. All right, this is what we're talking about. That's abuse levels, where this stuff is putting you in the hospital. You really got to be honest with people and say, hey, please don't do what I do. Use a fifth or less of what I use, please. I wish they do that more often, but the IGF-1 thing is scary. And people seem to love IGF-1, but honestly, when you look at it from a biology perspective, there is no way I would put IGF-1 into my body, all right? I would not do it. And the reason for it being, it has to do with the problem with it. People forget when they start talking about IGF-1 that, IGF-1 is doing what growth hormone and anabolics do directly while skipping the middleman. Because that's how they work. And for people who aren't aware of that, these substances work to build muscle mass by binding to the androgen receptors in the muscle tissue. And it seems like HGH amplifies that signal. That seems to be where its role is in the muscle building process. By itself, it's not anabolic to muscle tissue. But it does seem to amplify the signal, and it does seem to inhibit fat gains and things like that, which is enormous because it lets someone eat more food while anabolics gaining less fat, while eating more calories to get an even stronger anabolic signal. So, it has its role also, but we're talking about binding to the androgen receptor in the human body, in the muscle tissue specifically. What does that do? It causes the muscle cell nuclei to release IGF-1 locally, which then causes the muscle tissue to grow, all right? It is caused through IGF-1 release inside that cell. Problem with injecting IGF-1 directly into your body, you're getting it systematically. It's not localized anymore. Anabolics cause it to be released in the muscle tissue at the nuclei in the center of the muscle cell. The muscle cell gets most of it. Some of it hits your bloodstream. Very, very little. With the other, the first passes the bloodstream and the muscle tissue picks it up after the fact, but so does all the other tissue in the body. The thing here, the scary thing is that most cancer cells, most cancer tissue will respond like muscles do to high doses of anabolic steroids when they're exposed to IGF-1. We all get tumors. We all get cancerous tumors through our life. That's just a natural part of the human condition, unfortunately. Our body fights them off usually before they grow big enough to be detected. But we're all going to get various cancer tissues and cells through our bodies over the years. The problem with putting IGF-1 in your body for any significant period of time, you are basically supercharging any of those tumors that might be through your body, because you're giving them as much of a dose as you are the muscle tissue at this point. So it's a totally different animal from localized production being released in the muscle cell versus it being put directly into the bloodstream and being systematic and giving a first pass to all tissues. I think it causes cancer. I think it contributes to cancer, and I think that's scary as fuck for people to use a substance to grow muscle that could be giving you cancer like that. There's just no way I would personally risk that. And I really don't like the fact that they're both promoting that. And I wish they would be more honest about that risk. And I'm talking about that as someone who's generally okay with anabolics in conservative amounts. I am of the belief personally that they are very, very low risk if used responsibly. If close to no risk anabolics. Again, the right anabolics in the right amounts. I don't think IGF-1 can be used safely. I think it will always carry the risk of cancer with it. And I think it's a scary as fuck drug, and there's no way I'd put it into my body. So it's ultimately what this comes down to, this big argument between them, is really about IGF-1, which they both promote, they both use. And truth be told, I would say that's one of the two big beefs I have with them, is the fact that they both promote excessive use of these drugs, and they promote the IGF-1. I know a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, but they're competitive bodybuilders. They're bodybuilders. They're into bodybuilding, and they're teaching people how to be serious, hardcore bodybuilders. And I would argue with you, that serious hardcore bodybuilding itself is dangerous. It's a disease. It's something that we need to push out of the fitness world in general. I think it creates a negative component to the online fitness community. I think competitive bodybuilding is something that we really need to be speaking out against more rather than promoting. And so that's my issue there. But truth be told, you know what? All the other guys who are into serious competitive bodybuilding abuse just as much as these guys do. So at the end of the day, I don't know that I can really get that upset at them about it. And the only difference is that they're honest about it. They're at least honest about this is what gets the results. Everyone else is running around pimping supplements that are basically just robbing people's money that do literally fucking nothing to put muscle on you. Everyone else is promoting this stuff while using just as much gear as these guys do. At least in their circles. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's hard for me to even get mad at them for the abuse because they're just being honest about what they're doing, unlike everyone else. You know, and a lot of people would argue, well, the other guys are at least not encouraging the drug use. Yeah, but they're encouraging people to throw their money away on useless garbage and lying about their drug use. I mean, is that really any better? I mean, ethically speaking, is that really better? I don't think that it is. So I don't know. Even then, I guess I can't even get upset at them for promoting the abuse. I guess the only thing I could possibly then get upset at these guys about would be the fact that they are glorifying the bodybuilding lifestyle. I don't know. But what are you going to do about it? At this point, it seems like bodybuilding is such an intrinsic and massive part of the online fitness community. And there's such an enormous niche for it now that I don't know that there's any way to combat that other than to just step up and say, hey guys, this stuff is bullshit. It's not healthy. It's going to fucking kill you. Don't glorify it. What else is there to say on it? And as far as their beef goes, probably a case of Bostin overreacting. When Rich says he doesn't pay attention to what all Boston's doing, he's not talking about him. Truth be told, he's probably telling the truth. Because at the end of the day, whatever I might think of his business ethics at times, Rich is a pretty honest guy for the most part. And I don't think he has any reason to lie about that particular issue. If he had a real problem with Bostin, he'd probably just come out and say it. So I think Boston's overreacting. Again, just to kind of push his own business, his own stuff, and it is what it is. It's business as usual in this industry. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.